No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen. Welcome to the Pro Play Pursuit. We are here to give you a brief recap on last week's card, UFC Vegas 108, Tyra versus Park. Then we're going to hop right into UFC predictions for UFC at the APEX 109, the UFC Vegas 109. First thought when I saw that number 109, I'm like, I've lost count, but in the 80s, I lost count of which UFC Vegas we were on. But it's like, man, we've done 109 of these things in front of 2,000 people. And yet again, we're going to put two of the most exciting fighters we have in the division, Roman Dolidze against Fluffy Hernandez, two blood and guts guys who always kind of put on a fight of the night performance. We're going to do it in front of 2,000 people. Fantastic. Love it. Or less, I do like that they do events at the Apex. I would love to maybe go to one myself, I guess, at this point. But I do kind of start to feel like, when are we going to just get back to taking this show on the road every single time, Alex?
I agree. And the cards are lackluster when there's no crowd. They kind of save up all the good talent for the crowds. But Fluffy Hernandez versus Roman Dolidze, great fight. Can't complain about it too much. But that should be like a curtain jerker of a main card.
And what I'll say is, Chael Sonnen talks about main event fighters not going backwards. Once you're a main event, you win. You don't go backwards. Well, Hernandez is going to main event at the Apex here, but in terms of like the prestige of continuously main eventing at the Apex versus like if he were to get a shot at co-main event on next week's card, that I feel like that provides for a bigger moment that he can maybe use to catapult himself into top 5 title talks, whatever, right? But so these cards, they really do feel like they kind of come and go sometimes, and it is the dog days of summer. But I don't know. I mean, to me, the UFC should really make hay while the sun shines when it's just nothing but pre-playoff baseball and NASCAR on TV. It's like, let's get after it. I do think a lot of what we're seeing, because people complain about these cards a lot lately, I think a lot of what we're seeing is this end of the ESPN deal, and ESPN maybe not being such a desirable partner or helpful on the exit. I don't know. People, all relationships sort of sour at a certain point, especially between the people. I'm not talking Dana White and fucking Walt Disney. I'm talking the people pushing the buttons and doing this stuff and having to communicate via email between companies. Like, that's where you and I both know, Alex, being, in the careers we're in, like that's where business relationships go to die, is on these prolonged things when it's coming to an end. So everyone's kind of phoning it in. What I find most interesting is that for the entirety of this UFC ESPN relationship, it felt as though we were a guest in someone else's house, right? I don't know if you felt this way, Alex, but watching the ads that would come on during a UFC fight throughout the pandemic, leading into, the election season, everything kind of felt like ESPN and Disney were trying to brainwash us almost, right? Like, all the ads were ads that I found myself going like, I don't resonate with this messaging at all. Why are they showing me this, right? So for like years, I was dissatisfied with the advertising, dissatisfied with like ESPN's kind of like political bend, or even injecting politics into anything at all, right? But what's most interesting is now, every time I tune into DC and Chael's podcast on YouTube, ESPN's YouTube account, there's an ad break every time to talk about how Disney supports the veterans. And have you been watching? Do you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. It's like a clip from like post World War II, and it's like Walt Disney shaking his hand. He's like, "Good to be here, Walt. Thanks for having us all out here." It's like, for decades, Disney has given back to veterans, and it's like very interesting from a marketing standpoint of like, okay, if I were a global conglomerate that stood to benefit from the world leaning a certain way politically, and I understood that at a very high level, the top of the pyramid, or maybe like somewhere in like the mid top of the pyramid, and I'm trying to divide and conquer or take over territories and properties. I mean, to pretend that this isn't happening, like, okay, who just bought Harley Davidson? Sean Strickland was tweeting about this, right? In our little world of UFC. We'll bring a little conspiracy into this just because it relates to Sean Strickland. He was tweeting about how I think like BlackRock or Vanguard, one of these big companies that's like, believed to be the cause of, buying up all the homes in America, and you'll own nothing and you'll like it kind of thing, right? Like this whole corporatization of home ownership in America. These companies, Sean Strickland was saying, I think, was like they're buying up Harley Davidson. It's like, okay, so you're buying up the brands that your political dissidents, the people who disagree with you politically, love, like the redneck white trash brands of America, UFC, Harley Davidson. And I say this because I'm one of the redneck white trash of America who loves NASCAR and turning left, So my point is, if it's kind of like, why would they want the UFC when Dana White's supporting Trump, all this stuff? Take it over, buy the rights, get as many soft heads as he can to just believe your kind of subliminal messaging throughout the years. But then at the very end, as we're walking out the door, remind those of us maybe one step above the people who got actually brainwashed. Remind us that, hey, we're actually on your side. Make sure you make sure you come to Disney World next year. It's just beautiful. I love it as a marketing enthusiast student. I love to examine it and just to notice things. Say nothing. So I would love. But anyway, so the CSPN deal is really coming in. We're 4 months away from the UFC being a part of a new place to view it. And I'm very excited about it, because one thing we know for sure is that when UFC has to impress and when Dana White has to fulfill promises and make a big splash, they do it at the beginning. UFC on Fox, right? I mean, granted, the main event kind of ended up being short-lived, but Junior Dos Santos versus Cain Velasquez, like big heavyweight title fight, main event, literally the two pound for pound best heavyweights. Maybe not. I forget if Fedor had lost at that point. You know what I mean? But it was like that was like it. And when they have this new platform, I think they're going to probably have some big fights.
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. It's just using pawns up right now while they're waiting for their next home. I couldn't agree more. They're definitely that's why they're having guys like Conor McGregor and John Jones get tested when they know these guys have no intention to fight, because they're trying to sell another company on the big idea that these guys are going to come back. These guys are going to fight. You're going to get the return that, you ought to get with a Conor McGregor or a John Jones. But in reality, those guys are not going to fight. They're just trying to inflate their value.
Okay, let's throw 3 fights on the board. Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor, John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, Ilya Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. You know which fight I'm most fucking excited to see?
Islam versus Ilya.
I can't do it, but the song, like, I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about how not since Anderson Silva coming out to DMX Ain't No Sunshine have I felt the feeling that I feel when I hear Ilya Topuria's walkout music. There's something about it. And, sometimes it just fucking, the moment, the greatness you're watching, and the consistency of like this kind of like, it's not a hype rap song. It's not a rock and roll song. It's something else, right? Like even like DMX Ain't No Sunshine. Like it's not even like a typical DMX song. You know what I mean? And then you have like Ilya's song, which has so much culture and history behind it. But it feels like you're in a Quentin Tarantino movie watching Ilya walk out. Like it's like fucking chills, So my point is that I don't care about that. And I'm the one who, and people, all the people who say like, you'll hear like certain pundits talk about like, it's not us that keeps the lights on in the UFC. It's the girl at cardio kickboxing class who, hears about it and decides to tune in or whatever. It's like, and I'm sitting here on the ground, like boots on the ground for my whole life. Like, you want to know about the like vibe of the UFC? Ask me forever. Ask me forever. 6th grade, college, 33 years old, ask me what the fuck is up with people's opinion about the UFC, because I'm boots on the ground, and wherever I go, I'm probably watching the UFC, betting on the UFC, or mentioning that, hey, there's a UFC fight on right now. And I get the pulse of everywhere I go, and I get to see is like, do people care? Can I convince them? And let me just say, like, they're not buying the UFC fight. I go to jiu-jitsu classes. I go to kickboxing classes. People there go, like, I try to get conversations going about what's going on in the UFC, and they're not buying it. And coworkers that come up to me and are like, yeah, I like UFC. Hey, you buying the pay-per-view this weekend? Man, I'm probably going to stream it. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing is what people tell me. So I'm the one keeping the lights on the UFC because I have bought every pay-per-view since I was in the 6th grade. I talk about it. I tell people we should care about it. If I'm at a fucking ski house for the weekend, it's getting bought. Like, I'll foot the bill. Like, so I get a little bit annoyed when people try to tell me that, like, me as like the most hardcore fan there could be aren't what the UFC is concerned about. It's like, trust me, they should be, because I'm actually the one putting out the money every time. And fans like me are the ones actually putting out the money and convincing others of why we should care. When we have to go hat in hand to a friend like we did this weekend, Alex, and we had to explain what the BMF belt was to some girl who was a nurse and didn't know shit about the UFC, that's embarrassing. Like, and they know it. They're not dumb. Like, this isn't even a girl who does cardio kickboxing class. This is a girl who does not give a fuck, is a nurse, doesn't do martial arts, and is like, okay, explain this to me. Like, is it a tournament? How does it work? Who wins the title? And me and Alex have to sit there and tell her, like, well, technically they could just make a title out of thin air. Technically. If we're being completely transparent with you, yes, there is kind of a bracket. Not really, but let's pretend there is, okay? And this is embarrassing. Like, and they're embarrassed, like, when we have to do this. So make it legit.
Dustin Jacoby.
My favorite was when she asked, oh, and then whenever they fight, they just fight for that belt. And then we have to be like, well, not quite. Actually, in fact, both of the guys who've won have lost their next fight immediately after.
And it really started, guys, she was like, oh, what's the, like, how many, is this the title fight? And we're like, no, they're like once a month. And she's like, oh, like for every month? And we're like, yeah. And then we do the math and we go, well, there's actually flyweight, bantamweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, fucking heavyweight, 7 men's and a few women's. So we're like, there's actually probably more than 12. Are there more than 12 divisions? I just did the math and I can't even tell. Flyweight, bantamweight.
I don't think there's more than 12 divisions.
Welterweight, 5. Middle, light heavy, heavy. Women's strawweight, women's other weight. There's 11. Okay, so there's 11, and then there's that other women's one. So there's 3 women's and 8 men's for a total of 11. So yeah, so they had to make that BMF belt up.
That math is impossible. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Any of size.
Okay, so what's even going on? When I saw 109, I thought, what are we doing here? B? But look, I'm just gonna tell you guys straight up. Last weekend, I gotta edit that out again. I'm kidding, but no, I took a big bath, big bath. Like, you see what my new total is. I'm still at BE. I'm still at break even for the year, but I took a fucking beating. I didn't realize. So the only bet I won was Duncan by points. $74.60, paid $5.22. And even with the $5.22, I lost more. So how did it happen? Drinking, hanging out with Alex, and just really forcing it, wanting a win really bad, wanting to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. Who really failed me? Let's talk about it. Tresean Gore really fucking failed me. I had way too much invested on Tresean Gore. If he wins, that's a whole different night. He wins, I am positive on the night, right? So who else failed me? I mean, really,
Nick Klein.
I mean, that was crazy. You know, Nick Klein wins. I'm also in a different kind of situation, at least. I'll tell you who didn't. I mean, Nathan Fletcher, big fail. Elvis Brenner, fail. My buddy texted me, our friend
Neil
Ian.
Magny did amazing.
Ian shoots me a text. He goes, "Yo, I just ran. You left during this fucking fight. It was like the most crazy. Not crazy. It wasn't really a crazy fight. It was just an irresponsible fight. Is what it was. Chris Duncan
versus Matthaus and Rebecca.
And you know, Rebecca, like, he'll have a job as long as he's alive, because if he's going to go life and death with Oral by life and death with Duncan, like, let's fucking go, dude. Like, you want to talk about Justin Gaethje? You want to talk about fucking Michael Chandler? Fuck them. Mateus Rebecca is the fucking guy. Always ready to give him that Becky. And he dude, at the end of the fight, these guys, they looked like it was a scene in Game of Thrones. Like, they were walking back and Rebecca's eyes completely closed and just all you see is blood, like, coming, like, as if his eye has been removed and the blood is just pouring out. Chris Duncan, the hematoma that Rebecca had on his head after round 1, which I believe you saw, and then you, like, left in the middle of the fight, which was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. But head, you know, boom, hematoma. You do that to somebody in round 1, you can kind of just, like, jab at that, coast, like, escape, beat, like, let them come. They're desperate. Like, they got to make moves. Like, you can kind of fight more conservatively after that. Duncan was having none of it. He was like, I'm going to just fucking fight like the biggest idiot you've ever seen. Even though I'm probably up, I'm going to put my hands at my waist. I'm going to just eat one to give two. Like, he was just fighting like a man possessed. Like, these guys both need a long break. Duncan can't keep fighting like this. Rebecca can't keep fighting like this. They both need to start doing some dominant victories. Hard to calibrate anybody after these fights, right? How do you calibrate Duncan, Oralby, and Rebecca? How do you calibrate the three of them? It's like they're all just savages, it would seem. Or they're all just ripe for the picking to get sniped out by somebody, right? It's like, because of the way they fight, it's so reckless. So, yeah, crazy fight. Right before you left, I told you, I said, there's only been one underdog that's won all night. It's Neil Magny. The bubble's about to burst again. We're going to, of the dogs that are left, Duncan is the most likely candidate. He's done it before. He's always overachieving. Let's go Duncan by decision. Rebecca's not getting submitted by him for sure, and probably won't be knocked out by him. So that's why I played Duncan by decision. I wish I had just backed up the Brinks truck on him, but Alex was talking me out of it, telling me, no, it's Rebecca by decision. And while you couldn't call it close, I really thought Duncan won every round. I always wait to hear what Aaron Bronsteiner says on Twitter, of course, before I ever even think.
Oh my god!
Round 1, Rebecca, close, but I'm gonna shut up, Aaron Bronsteiner. Who the fuck asked you? All right,
Tatsu.
Oh, that's your takeaway?
Tatsu Yatira Luke. I mean, what were you thinking with Hang Sung Park? Guy's coming in on 6 days notice. You think he's gonna take Tatsu Yatira to the cleaners?
I didn't know that he was so incompetent on the ground, is what it was. And I also
he got rocked on his feet.
That's what I'm saying too, right? Like that. So that was even that was the worst of it. But yeah, he was undefeated. He had done well. I didn't know he was that incompetent on the ground, and I thought, you know, Tyra, he fought fucking, what's the guy's name? Turbo Perez, and he like went life and death with him. You know what I mean? So I was like, if this guy is getting that reckless against Turbo Perez, then he's gonna fucking get clipped by Hung Sung Park. But it is what it is. I've made mistakes, and I can't change the past.
It is what it is, and I can't change the past. And yes, I've made mistakes. All I can do now is apologize and move on. I don't know what. Guys, okay. Can I just?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, please.
All I can say is I've made mistakes.
Rest in peace, Rob Ford. Okay, so that's my story. I'm sticking to it, guys. You know, hey, we're what is it? 3 months in, almost to the day of year 6, and I'm at break even. It's going to be a very conservative weekend for me this weekend in terms of betting. Depend on me like the 1st and 15th. The 1st came and went, and now we're waiting on the 15th. You know what I'm saying? So let's.
Please don't ask me any dumb questions.
If you know, you know. Let's move on. Any other fights we need to discuss from that card? I mean, Trace Sean Gore, get the fuck out of here.
You're getting outstruck by Hidalgo, Bellato, or Vieira.
Yeah, who cares? Hidalgo, any Hidalgo, any of Hidalgos. Oscar Bashi, awesome. Love you. Bashi by finish. Should have just went everything on Bashi by finish. Should have went everything on Duncan by points. Would have saved myself a lot of heartache. Magny could have. But this weekend is no picnic, guys. Like, let me tell you, the odds on every fight, you got to find your dogs here this weekend because it's huge favorite versus huge dog in every single fucking fight. So let's get into it. And we're coming off one card with 7 out of 12 favorites winning, 7 out of 12 underdogs winning. Historic. Then you have the next card where 2 out of 12, right? So call it 9 out of 24, which is basically 3/8, 3 out of 8, which is basically, 40%, right? So, but that's with the big outlier of 7 out of 12. So we're regressing back to the mean of a steady, 3 underdogs, like Dan always fucking says, average. But these are averages for a reason. You can't always think I got to build a perfect parlay with 3 underdogs because there's going to be nights with 2, there's going to be nights with 7. But we got to find, there are going to be some this weekend, and we got to find who they are. So this is a dog hunt. Strap in, buckle in. My dogs are hungry. And we got to find them.
Meatball day!
It's meatball day. Let's go. UFC Fight Night. Dolidze versus Hernandez. UFC Vegas 109. UFC at the Apex.
Dude, you teased something in the Discord. A big announcement.
There's a big announcement. Nobody here has commented, so we're gonna just wait. You know what I mean? It's Tuesday. We're a day late. I don't believe that the big announcement is even deserved at this point. So we'll
day late and plenty of dollars short of where we were last week.
I love the balls on my mouth.
Okay. So Cody Brundage versus Eric McConaughey. Eric McConaughey. When I say the word McConaughey, I'm thinking of so many things. I'm thinking of McDonald's. I'm thinking of Sunoco. I'm thinking of there's another gas station called like Conoco or Con something, right? McConaughey. I'm thinking of McConaughey. I'm thinking of it's overloading my fucking brain to say Eric McConaughey. And then I'm thinking of Eric Matthews, Boy Meets World. Eric. I'm thinking of all these different things. Eric McConaughey already overloaded me and astounded me just with his name. So you got to think that's like a feint. You know what I mean? He's overloaded me. What's Brundage going to be thinking? He's going to be, who am I fighting? Old McDonald? Am I fighting Matthew McConaughey? Am I fighting, Conor McGregor? Like he's just like McConaughey, Sunoco. Like he's terrified. Cody Brundage is one of the greatest of all time. At what he does, his niche, his craft, he's one of the greatest of all time. This is a guy who not only was able to knock Zach Reese the fuck out, it was a highly touted prospect, did that as an underdog, but then gets an opportunity to fight Bo Nickel, gets submitted. Goes in there, takes that no contest against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, beats Julian Marquez in a weird kind of mouthpiece situation where he gets saved. Mansour Abdul Malik, Abdul Razak Al Hassan, Mansour Abdul Malik, he's getting matched up against these guys that are coming in with 3 names with hyphens, and he is finding ways to get them out of it. With no contests, with majority decision draws, with results being overturned. I mean, we all remember also the fight against
Malkoon.
Jacob Malkoon. It feels like just yesterday, but yet that was an amazing underdog win he had, taking that knee. And it just goes to show, although he trains with Anthony Smith, he is saying, "I don't want to be like you, Dad. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do what you couldn't do." 1 no contest, 1 draw, 5 wins, 5 losses, 5-5, 1-1, straight across the board. He has done everything, and he's done it all even. With a loss on the Contender Series to get into the UFC, which is insane. So, what a guy. Can't ever bet against him again. Cody Brundage goes in there this weekend, knocks out Eric McConaughey. Give me Cody Brundage. Give me Cody Brundage by finish, by knockout. Cody Brundage for the win. Cody Brundage by finish. Possibly submission, but we'll go knockout.
By hook or by crook, he'll find a way to, at the very least, not lose. Give me Cody Brundage.
Okay, I love it. Next, Gabby Fernandez versus Julia Starlenko. I'm going to take a PP. Just give them the heights, the reaches, the last few fights they've had while I pee, because there's not much else to talk about.
All right, Fernandez is 5'6", 66-inch reach, where Julia Starlenko is going to be coming in a little larger, 5'7", 69 inches of reach. Guys, Dolidze Starlenko, you can never make heads or tails of her. She wins one, she loses one, she wins one, she loses one. That's the way her career goes. She's coming off of a loss to Luana Carolina. Before that, a win against Meatball Molly McCann. Gabby Fernandez, on the other hand, 2 wins in a row. Kong Wang and Carly Judice. 2 losses before that against Teresa Bleda and Jasmine Judavicius.
Wait, we know now that Carly Dreidel is amazing.
Yes, and she beat Carly Judice by split decision. And also Kong Wang, who has 2 great wins in the UFC. And then Gabby Fernandez over here kind of derailed that hype train. Kong Wang kind of got back on it. Yo, on the broadcast, they were calling her Wantong.
You remember as a kid, they told you in China, they read right to left.
Yeah, but that'd be Wang Kong.
But if we're putting it left to right, and then they're reading it right to left, and then Americans are trying to compensate, then it creates all this sort of mix and match confusion where, because some people are like, they see it, they go, Wang Kong. But she's Chinese, so it's Kong Wang. But then other people write it, hey, well, we know, Kong Wang. And then they see it and they go, oh, they wrote it Kong Wang, but I know that she's from China, so it's Wang Kong. So then
they said Wonton.
We don't know if you're doing it American or you're writing it Chinese, so we don't know if we should mix it or match it.
They said wonton, though. These are just different words entirely.
I'm not touching this one. I don't care. I purposely call everybody by the wrong name. You just called Rodolfo Vieira Rodolfo Bellato, and I didn't even correct you. I was like, fine, move on. It's funny. I like calling people by the wrong names in the UFC for some reason, like Dustin Jacoby. Which I don't know. Maybe Dustin Jacoby. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's right. He's English.
They invented the language.
English, so I should probably defer to the person from England. You know what I mean? It's Dustin Jacoby.
Fair enough.
It's Jamahal Hill.
It is Jamahal Hill. Luke, who do you have in this one? The Starlenko versus
Jamaholics.
Who do you have here?
Gabby Fernandez by finish.
All right. Likewise.
All right. Eros Madik versus Gilbert Urbina. Gilbert Urbina, a very interesting case in this fight, right? You have 32-year-old Urus Madik, who we've loved since the start of this podcast. Pandemic hero Urus Madik got knocked out by somebody who I really have no respect for and have been proven wrong so many times trying to fade. Punahele Soralelo. So Punahele Soralelo, he has been a bit of a devil's bane for me. I'd like to explore his record for a bit. Punahele is, let's see. So, able to beat, let's see, since the start of this podcast, right, 2020, we got his win against Dusko Todorovic, right? So he knocks him out in round 1, loses to Brendan Allen, loses to Nick Maximoff by split decision, beats Dolce Lungambula, loses to Roman Kopylov. No, that's the one I'll even dissect. Roman Kopilov's pretty good. Dustin Solvitz loses to him, beats Miguel Baeza, and then beats Urus Madik. Now, I didn't see that coming because I feel like Urus Madik, out of all of those people I just named besides Roman Kopylov and maybe Brendan Allen, is way fucking better, right? So if you lose to Roman, I don't see how you beat Urus Madik. Or I'm sorry, if you lose to Stolfitz, if you lose to Nick Maximoff, I don't see how you beat Urus Madik. So that tells me that training with Eric Nixick, did a lot for Punahele Soriano, and ultimately Gilbert Urbina hasn't fought in a year and a half, got knocked out a year and a half ago. Really, you know what I like to see? I like to see some interviews. I like to know what Gilbert Urbina did in that year and a half. What kind of guy, like I could be convinced if he was like, I took a lot of time off to heal myself. Then I took a lot of time off to correct mistakes. Then I got right into camp and I'm so prepared for this and I never lost focus and I'm not going to have ring rust because I don't give a fuck. I'd love to see that. But a win against Orion Koski 2 years ago, but it's interesting, right? Because I don't know that Urus Madik coming back after getting knocked out 6 months ago is great. So I love when they do this. I hate when they do this, but it's very smart to put a guy who coming off a knockout with a long layoff versus a guy coming off a knockout with a short layoff. So it's like, well, one guy I perceive as the better fighter, the more active fighter for sure. But is he the more compromised fighter versus the guy who's now going to be way better than he showed a year and a half ago? Maybe. So that's why I want to see some interviews here. Because my gut, my instinct, my brain, my heart, everything about me is saying Urus Madik by fucking first round knockout. But then part of me goes, don't aim where they are, aim where they're going to be. You're aiming where Urus Madik was, and you're not aiming where Gilbert Urbina is going to be. So in a card with a lot of big dogs, this is a more moderate one that you might want to take a look at, Gilbert Urbina. I'm going Gilbert Urbina. I'm going Gilbert Urbina by knockout. Plus 285 underdog, and I'm selecting him, Gilbert Urbina. I've just convinced myself Gilbert Urbina he's my Treson Gore rebound pick of the week. Same season of The Ultimate Fighter. I'm going Gilbert Urbina because guess what? When Treson Gore tucked tail and ran, Gilbert Urbina showed up in the finals and fought Brian Battle and lost. But now he's taken the requisite amount of time off. He's still under 30. Urus Madik is balding. Urus Madik is 33 years old at 170. He's coming off a knockout 6 months ago. Gilbert, this is going to be a fight way harder than he thought it was going to be against a guy who's taller, stronger, longer, faster, more Mexican, hardier, and is going to beat him.
Give me Urus Madik. Just a way better fighter all around, way more well-rounded. And Luke, after seeing Treson Gore's performance, picking a guy who knocked him out or who was knocked out by him is absolute insanity. That season of The Ultimate Fighter was all bad apart from Brian Battle. Next up, we got Jocelyn Edwards versus Zombie Girl Priscilla Cachoeira. Got a lot of respect for La Pantera. Very good fighter. I think she goes in there, absolutely destroys Priscilla Cachoeira. Cachoeira's 36 years old. She's going to come in there in shorter, 5 inches less reach. And La Pantera goes in there and daps these girls up. Lukey color palette giving me Patrick Swayze Ghost vibes. Hey, more power to you, Justin. Hope you enjoy that skin tone. Okay, he doesn't get much sun. He doesn't spend too much time in the sun. He's a city boy.
I'm so tan. I don't know what you're talking about. If you guys, what do you mean? I'm so fucking tan. It's like I'm tan as hell. Listen, Zombie Girl is worth a look here. I mean, Jocelyn Edwards has 6 losses. Jocelyn Edwards, Zombie Girl's only lost by submission. You know, she knocks people out. She knocked out Josiane Nunes in her last fight 4 months ago. I believe I predicted that. I believe I bet that. Meanwhile, Edwards, yeah, she knocked out Chelsea Chandler. But here's the thing. Is she going to take the fight to the ground? That would be her path to victory. I think that trading at Kings MMA, she can do that and could do that. Will she do that is the question. So minus 250 on Jocelyn Edwards against a girl I love in Priscilla Cachoeira, who fights and gets finishes at the 135 pound division in the women's. You know, I kind of want to give Priscilla a look, but I need to see him in the cage. I need to see the week. At 36, you know, against a 29-year-old, I kind of have to assume a well-prepared Jocelyn Edwards goes in there, takes Priscilla Cachoeira down, and elbows the shit out of her. So we're double P certifying Jocelyn Edwards.
Beautiful.
And guys, I need to hear. I need 5 comments, not on this video, but the people who watched on the rewatch. I need 5 comments that say, "What's the special announcement?" And then I'll comment what the special announcement is, but it's real special.
Thank you. Yes, I am very super manly. Elijah Smith versus Toshiomo Kazama. The silent finisher versus the swift finisher. Gonna go with Elijah Smith, younger, more dynamic, got a new mix of Ken and Superman. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that.
Are you interested in us? Like, do you think we're like cutie pies? Like, are you that? Do you? I would be so flattered. I'm gonna favorite that one, and I'm gonna favorite that one too. Let us know if like you think we're your type or whatever. Like, it would be very flattering, and we would love to know. So, like if you're just like a bro, like if you're like, you know, a straight guy and you're like just saying this, that's not nearly as flattering if you comment right now and say, no, I am a gay man and I am saying you guys are both hot. Like, that would mean the world to us. So please just let it all out. Let us know what you think.
That would mean the most to you. Don't loop me in on your, you know.
Once you hit 30, Alex, and become a man, you'll really appreciate just once you have some kids, you get a little bit of a dad bod, you'll appreciate any compliment. You know what I mean? Because if I had to, if I had to hit the dating market in today's economy, it's just never gonna work. You know what I mean? So I look at myself as an undesirable at this point.
An incel, so to say.
No, just like somebody who I guess got lucky. I don't know, because I have a beautiful wife, but if I had to put this booty out on the market, I just feel like no one would be interested.
Poor guy.
I know.
I think somebody might be interested.
I did go to the dentist recently though, so teeth are clean. So anyway, let's get back to the fights. We both are going to pick Jocelyn Edwards, and that's fine. We don't need to bet that fight. But Elijah Smith versus Toshiomi Kazama, I feel like Elijah Smith, he's going to hand this guy a beat down in the very first round. He's going to absolutely beat the shit out of this guy. So the only bet I would ever place on this is Smith by first round knockout or first round finish. Anything short of that is a complete embarrassment and disappointment for Smith to me. And it'll show me. It'll show me like who I'm dealing with as, you know, all right, look, you're coming in as a minus 515 favorite at 22 years old, okay? And it's your second fight in the UFC. do not need to listen to your coaches in your corners and all these people who try to bring you down and try to calibrate you and tell you what you're ready for and all this shit. Tell you that you need to get experience. You need to log minutes. You need to go through the rounds and make sure that you can go and get your confidence. So you can compete for, if you have to, for all 3 rounds. And fuck all that noise. Every time you go in the octagon, you are deteriorating. Every time you're taking punches, you're deteriorating. If you go in there against Kazama and he's able to hit you at all, that is a failure. You need to go in there and whitewash this guy. You need to go in there and absolutely trounce him and not take any damage. That is a success. Every time you compete, like when Dustin Poirier cut Islam Makhachev, he wears that scar the rest of his life now. Dustin Poirier gave it to him. And if you're that good, you should look at a fight like a survival situation. You should look at a fight like George St. Pierre did, which is control, dominance, but take it a step further and go, the longer I'm in here, the more that can go wrong. So let me fucking get him out of there. Quick. Clean. That's the best case scenario. So don't listen to these cornermen and coaches who want you in there like Bo Nickel, like, you went 3 rounds with Paul Craig. How great was that? Shut the fuck up. How'd that serve you against Ranier de Ritter?
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you go, maybe if you got Ranier de Ritter the fuck out of there, like if you just went in there. Oh, look, Justin's trying to compensate now. He's trying to compensate the sus allegations. It's fine, Justin. Like I was hoping that you were genuinely attracted to us, but yeah, so what was I just saying?
I don't know, but I'm taking Elijah Smith. I think that he's going to go out there, absolutely beat up on Kazama. Yeah, emphatically. He's young, more dynamic, has more power, and USA in the show. Let's go. Elijah Smith.
Yeah. Hey, great job, Bo Nickel. You went 3 rounds with Paul Craig. Yeah, just to get fucking finished. Paul Craig's not a striker. Let me test my striking out against Paul Craig. Real admirable. Who the fuck cares? Against Paul Craig, you might as well test it out against a fucking guy holding mitts. Testing your striking against hilarious. How about you test your fucking jiu-jitsu out against Paul Craig to see if you're ready for Hamzat? Because if you can't submit Paul Craig, what the fuck are you going to do on the ground with Hamzat? Because you ain't striking with Hamzat, I'll tell you that much. Sneak peek. Hamzat's way better at striking than Dricus Du Plessis. Sneak peek.
No.
I love that the line is close. Sneak peek. We're fucking backing up the Brinks truck on Hamzat by knockout.
What? What?
Hey, this is going to look hilarious in hindsight. Let me just tell you that. A guy who went life and death with Sean Strickland for 10 fucking rounds, and you're telling me Hamzat's not going to cut through him like a hot knife through fucking butter? Come on. Hamzat cuts through Izzy, Sean, and DDP in the same fucking night. Same fucking night.
You're
All
crazy.
3. All 3.
He couldn't cut through Kamaru Usman.
Kamaru Usman beat Sean Strickland. Kamaru Usman could beat Israel Adesanya, and Kamaru Usman went to a draw with Hamzat Chimaev. So, yeah, he couldn't do that to Kamaru Usman. But guess what? You know what I mean? Like, Kamaru Usman's fucking good.
You're crazy. DDP would ragdoll Kamaru Usman.
What if I told you that he's training with Sam Calavita at the MMA lab?
He's just going to be on EPO. That's fine.
Allegedly, Sam Calavita had nothing to do with it.
I feel like a national Larry bear.
So, what do we got? Elijah Smith by finish. Anything less is a fucking travesty and a joke. Julius Walker versus Rafael Sequeira. Rafael Sequeira coming off back-to-back knockout losses against one Ibo Aslan and one Modestas Bukalkis. Before that, he was knocking out a bunch of people in fights that are not on film. He's 35 years old, taking on a guy 9 years younger than Julius Walker. Julius Walker, I thought he beat Alonzo Metafield last time. I had a big free bet on him. I had a $500 free bet that I placed on Julius Walker at like plus 180. Was really hoping to use that as my like little free bankroll to even do more risky shit throughout the night, but he lost. And now you're asking me I took him at plus 180 against Alonzo Menafield. Now I'm supposed to find a way to bet him at minus 605. He's not really like I mean, yeah, he has finishes, but like as we saw again, the pick is for me Julius Walker by knockout.
Julius Walker by knockout for sure. If you're getting knocked out in the first round by Ibo Aslan and Modestus Bukauskas.
But maybe he fights way more tentative. Who, Juice? No. Sequeria. Maybe he like is just super defensive coming, you know what I mean?
I don't think
all his wins are by knockout. He doesn't have any decision wins. So what we could be seeing is like, okay, you get knocked out twice in 4 months, right? And then in 4 months. And then you're coming back just 6 months later. I look at it almost as like let's try to win a decision or not get knocked out, finish out our UFC contract, and then we'll figure it out from there. Like, what do you think? Julius Walker by knockout. That's what you said. Okay. I'll roll with that. Next, we got our boy, guest of this podcast, not once, not twice, but 3 times, Eric Anders, taking on Christian Leroy Duncan. Eric Anders, 38 years old, coming off 2 really great wins. Finished Chris Weidman in a fight 7 months ago. Great fight. Then you got CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan, who just took Andre Pulaev to decision. Before that, lost the decision to RoboCop, lost the decision to Petrosian. Very interesting fight. I almost, you got to remember, I almost kind of view this closer to Anders versus Park than anything. Does that make sense? Because you got Park, who's a good boxer. And I think what Park lacks in athleticism, he makes up for in grappling. But what CLD lacks in grappling makes up for in height, athleticism, youth. So, like, that, I think, kind of cancels that out and makes it so that, like, there could be times when Anders is, like, wall installing, maybe getting a takedown. But I think ultimately the youth is going to prevail. Cardio on CLD and leverage and height is going to prevail. And I think CLD is going to get the win. I think it'll probably be by decision. I think if you take an Andre Pulaev to decision, if you're losing decisions to RoboCop, you're losing decisions to Petrosian, I think you don't finish Eric Anders, especially on the momentum he's riding. But I could see CLD winning on volume, jabs, nice knees and elbows and stuff up the middle when they do clench, and kind of preventing Anders from getting his game going with the clench, with the cage work, with the ground and pound, and ultimately winning a pretty clear and easy decision for CLD. Wait, but we say this is the first fight of the main card. So I think the UFC is anticipating a finish.
Okay.
I think the UFC is anticipating a finish in the Walker fight and in the CLD fight. I think you parlay Walker and CLD both by finish, you might have something there. Even though I just said decision, I'm looking at the age. That's the thing that really gets me, man. It's 38 versus fucking 30. It's an 8-year age difference. And this is saying that Anders didn't even make weight against Weidman, 193. I got to check on that. Was it 195? Was it a catch weight because they did it on short notice?
I think they moved it back 1 week.
Yeah, and then they said you can. Let me see, because Chris Weidman's latest weigh-in in his last fight with Eric Anders was 194. Okay, so yeah, that was a catch weight, so he didn't miss weight. But now, you do something. Think about this: you do something once. Max Holloway moves up to 155 from 145. All of a sudden, never want to go back down again. Like nobody ever wants to go back down again.
Yeah, I'm going to take CLD. I was about to say, if you didn't take CLD, I'd be amazed you were blowing him to the high heavens last week. You love CLD apparently, so give me Christian Leroy Duncan. Sorry to dear friend Eric Anders.
Nothing personal. And
I hope you win.
I hope you win. And if you do, please come on the show and tell us that we're fucking idiots. Miles John versus John Masamuto.
I'll be right back.
Miles John is 31 years old, 5'7", 66-inch reach. Taking on John Masamuto, going to be 6 years younger, same height, a little bit more of reach on him. And you'll remember Miles John, he fought Felipe Lima to a decision, which he lost last time out. He's coming in as a plus 250, 225 underdog on Tapology. You know, John Masamuto lost that decision to Rob Font 5 months ago. Only other wins, finished Dan Argueta and beat Brad Katona by decision, whereas Miles John, he's got a win against Cody Gibson, a win against Douglas De Silva de Andrade in the same time. You know, I'm personally, what weight is this fight at? This is going to be a 135-pound fight. Miles John is coming down from 146 after his loss. Trains at 4 to 7 May. Whereas Masamuto missed weight against Rob Font, weighed in at 139. It's very tempting. I think that the Masamuto and Font fight was a catch weight, though, because Font weighed in at 138. So, yeah, I remember that one got rescheduled. So, I like Miles Johns as an underdog here. I think that it's a much more worthwhile underdog than Gilbert Urbina, who I was ready to jump on. So, give me Miles Johns.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that Miles Johns is like a younger, more dynamic, faster, stronger version of Rob Font, who started the sport earlier. Give me Miles Johns. I think Miles Johns puts it on Gene Masamuto.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, next we got Andre Fili versus Christian Rodriguez. Now, Christian, he spoiled a lot of my plans with his split decision loss to Melky Costa, and or it was a decision loss, but I thought that one of the rounds was pretty close, and he clearly won another. So, I thought you could have given it to C-Rod. Well, sorry, I thought he won one round clearly and lost 2 rounds, and he could have won the fight. I don't think that you could have given it to him. I think he could have won the fight if he fought differently. He was trying to wrestle and grapple when he was having a lot of success on the feet. I'd like to see him touchy-feely here. He's 8 years younger at a weight class that is, way south of 170. Fighters 35 and older, even at 170, do not win at a very high percentage, let alone when they're facing a guy 8 years younger, let alone when we're talking 145. So I look to see Fili get his 13th loss, and C-Rod, who has an amazing pedigree. He beat Austin Bashi, who we just saw. He beat Isaac Dolgarian. He beat fucking Cameron Simon. He beat fucking Raul Rosas Jr., right? I mean, let me say, he beat Raul Rosas Jr. He beat fucking so many good-ass dudes early in his career. He's still early in his career. He's 5-3 in the UFC at 27 years old. I mean, by the time he is 33, he could be a 20 plus fight UFC vet, having 8 fights already. In 6 years, 3 times 6, 18. He get 18 more fights. He could be almost a 30 fight vet. And then, by the time he's 33, and we'll be talking about Christian Rodriguez like as one of the guys. He's still young. Give me Christian Rodriguez. And I think he finishes Fili, to be honest with you. I think Fili, war-torn, 36-fight vet, got finished by Ige, definitely finishable by Rodriguez. He is not, taking Cub Swanson to split decisions. He got submitted by Costa, who was C-Rod's last opponent in the first round. His only wins are against Lucas Almeida, Bill Algeo. Again, split decision in the fight. I thought Bill Algeo won. Font fought a lot of good guys, but every time he even wins against anybody of note, it's a split decision. So yeah, I'm going all day, all night. I mean, this guy, Andre Philly took Artem fucking Lobov, Conor McGregor's punching bag to a fucking unanimous decision. So give me C-Rod all day, and one of the lines that I'm actually kind of more comfortable with at minus 215.
Yeah, I'll take C-Rod, but you gotta worry. He only can beat guys who are surging young prospects that the UFC wants to build. And Andre Philly is not that. So I don't know if Christian Rodriguez is going to wake up for the dance. Is this going to be the Christian Rodriguez that got subbed first round guillotine by Julian Erosa? Or is this going to be...
That can happen to anybody. That could happen to Islam Makhachev.
But yeah, give me Christian Rodriguez. I'm just joshing around. There's no way that that homeboy Andre Fili wins this fight. He's too busy in a screamo band.
Yeah.
And worried about his gauges.
Next, we got 40-year-old Angela Overkill Hill coming off a win against Ketlin Souza 5 months ago. Before that, lost to Tabitha Ricci. Before that, won against Luana Pinheiro and Denise Gomez. In the same amount of time, Yasmin Lucindo had her UFC Ultimate Fighter win against Brogy Walker. She beat Poliana Viana. She beat Carolina Kowalkiewicz, Marina Rodriguez, and Amanda Lemos. Now, what I look at is the Karina Kowalkiewicz fight, because you would say, okay, Karina Kowalkiewicz, Angela Hill is looking way better in her old age than Carolina was. No offense, I love Carolina more than anything, but she also beats Marina Rodriguez pretty good, but then loses to Amanda Lemos by decision 4 months ago, a fight that Amanda won every minute of. Angie Hill's been wrestling, man. She could do exactly what Amanda Lemos did. And Amanda Lemos, if I'm not mistaken, how old is she? Amanda Lemos is 38. So gray hair, looking like Storm from Halle Berry X-Men, So, I mean, I hate Angela Hill. I always fade Angela Hill. I'm picking Angela fucking Hill to beat Yasmin Lucindo. I mean, she's 17 years older. There's no sport where somebody 17 years older can win.
Golf?
No. Yeah, I guess. Maybe, right? I guess. Hold on. I'll chat GPT this while you talk through it.
All right. I'm going to take Angela Hill's dusty ass. I think that she's going to win this fight. Yasmin Lucindo looked like a fish out of water when she was getting taken down against Amanda Lemos. Like Luke said, Amanda Lemos won every single minute of that fight. Give me Overkill, Angie Hill. And for God's sakes, when this woman retires, her B-roll is going to be 15 minutes long.
Talk more while I'm doing the ChatGPT. Okay, so yeah, Angela, you're taking dusty old Angela Hill too.
The old dusty Angela Hill.
Dusty old bones covered in green dust. Shout out to King of the Hill back. Alex, you want to know something very interesting?
What's that?
There have been several instances in sports where an athlete 17 years older or more defeated a significantly younger opponent at the highest levels of competition. Here are some notable examples. George Foreman versus Michael Moorer, 1994. Foreman's age 45, Moore's age 26, age difference 19 years. Heavyweight boxing championship. Foreman knocked out the undefeated Moore to become the oldest heavyweight champion in history. Okay, anomaly. Tennis. Martina Navratilova, mixed doubles, 2006 U.S. Open. Navratilova's age, 49. Partner, Bob Bryan. Okay, so a woman playing with a man. This is no, we're not listening to that one. That's a little different. Jimmy White versus Donald Trump in snooker. A 57-year-old beat a 30-year-old in pool. Cool, got it. Golf, like you said, Tom Watson at the Open. Tom Watson was 59 years of age. He lost only in a playoff. He nearly won the Open Championship, losing only in a playoff. He beat numerous younger players across 4 rounds, showing world-class form. In judo, often judokas compete well into their 40s. Yeah, it's not a real sport either. Okay, cool. So, no. the answer is no. There's never been a situation where in a real sport somebody has. I should have asked ChatGPT. Any real
Except George Foreman.
No, that's boxing. That's not a real. That's boxing in the fucking 70s or 50s or whatever that was. Like, no. That's not real either. Okay, so yeah, boxing. When they bring a fucking he was undefeated against who? Cab drivers. Like, who the fuck did? Like, who was he? Like, we don't. I've never heard of him until just now.
He was the guy. He was in that movie. I think he might have been on King of Queens. Jay Moore. He does the accents. He does the funny imitations. What are you doing? Stop talking to ChatGPT. This isn't a ChatGPT show.
Go to the next fight. We both took Angela Hill.
All right.
Actually, sorry, I'm switching my pick. Because it's it's like it's literally never happened. So part of my brain, Doctor Strange, sees a reality in which Angela Hill is like talked about by Michael Chiesa and everybody, Karen Bryan on the desk afterwards, and like reading her this exact statistic, like saying like no one has ever done this. You and George Foreman I can see that happening. So I'll stick with Angela Hill. Oh, Randy Couture beat Vitor Belfort. He was 17 years older.
There you go. But I think Vitor was also 17 years old.
Bernard Hopkins beat Kelly Pavlik. 17 years age difference.
I thought we weren't doing...
Angela Hill, you joined the ranks of Randy Couture, Bernard Hopkins, and George Foreman. Legends.
They wouldn't say Couture.
Yeah.
They would not say Randy.
Serena Williams also beat Amanda Anisimova, who was 16 years younger. Yeah, I mean, they wanted to be able to talk about Angela Hill in the same sentence as Serena Williams, Bernard Hopkins, George Foreman. That's like exactly what they want to do. That will happen.
I'd agree.
And I will talk about Angela Hill in the same, and I will say there's only been fucking 4 times. It's Bernard Hopkins, George Foreman, Serena Williams, and Yasmin Lucindo's dumbass found a way to lose too. Yasmin Lucindo, no, I won't even say Angela Hill. I'll be like, and Yasmin Lucindo found a way to lose to somebody who was 17 years older than her. That was the 4th time that it happened. Just a shame because it's like, yeah. Okay. 2 fights left, guys. Steve Erceg versus Ode Osborne.
Steve Erceg.
Fight. Steve Erceg. From Perth. 30 years old. Taking on Ode Osborne, the Jamaican sensation out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He is coming off of 3 losses in a row. Asu Amabayev, Rafael Filo, and Ronaldo Rodriguez. Combined record of the 3, we're talking 48 and 7. 48 and 7. So no, really like maybe, and then he beats Charles Johnson, who at the time 13 and 3. So now we're talking 50, 61 and 10 less, and then he beats Louis Garul 10 and 0. So now we're talking 78 and 10. The record of the opponents of Ode Osborne's last 5 fights, in which he went 2 and 3 with.
Louis Garul.
Maybe Ode Osborne is a fucking beast, actually. Maybe we all got it the fuck wrong, and maybe Ode Osborne is actually really fucking good. Because if you can go 2 and 3 against 5 opponents with a combined record of 78 and 10, that's an average of 2 losses per opponent. Like, you fought 5 people in a row who only have ever lost twice, and have put up, between the 5 of them, 78 wins. That's fucking insane. Meanwhile, Steve Erceg, his last, opponents, 5 losses, 11 losses, 8 losses. So we're talking 25 losses for his last 3 opponents. Then you throw in, we're talking.
Yeah, but they also had like 74 fucking wins.
35 losses between his opponents, his last 5 opponents. 13, 29, 64. Yeah, like 100. 100 wins. So 100 to 30 versus like 70 something to like 10, right? So, I mean, 1/7 versus 3/10. What's the difference? Who knows? Bottom line is
2 in the third in one hand and 6 in a dozen in the other.
shit in one hand and hope in the other and see which fills up first. It's hard to imagine Steve Erceg after that fucking title shot he got that he lost, by the skin of his nutsack. Very close fight. I thought Steve Erceg even had a claim to win. Then gets knocked out by Kai Kara, who gets absolutely trounced by the same guy he went to war with, and then loses to Brendan Moreno in a very non-competitive affair. I'm so tempted to take Ode Osborne. I just convinced myself to, but it's hard to imagine Steve Erceg goes 4 in a row. Loses 4 in a row. And they're both unranked, it's saying. That's interesting. How are they both on? They're both unranked. Co-main event, 2 unranked guys. Interesting. Off of
Yeah,
6 and 4 in their last 10 combined. Like losses, 6 losses. I don't know. Talk through this one real quick. I got a potty one last time. Home wreck and knee knocker. Osborne wins, especially at 135. Ode, dog of the week. I just talked myself into it with all the statistics.
I'm going with Astro Boy. Fuck all that bullshit. I don't rate Ode Osborne highly at all. He lost to Brian Kelleher. Brian Kelleher plays a ukulele. Luke has, numerous times clowned Brian Kelleher. Well, Ode Osborne lost to him. And now you're saying the guy who's had the closest fight with the champ in the last 10 years is going to lose to a guy who loses to Brian Kelleher. No siree, no chance in hell. Give me Steve Erceg. Steve Erceg might even submit him. I think Steve Erceg gets a submission in this fight, finishes him within the 3 rounds. Absolutely dummies Ode Osborne. And that'll bring us to the main event of the evening. Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Two fan favorites. 2 guys we love over here. Luke, how do
Pandemic heroes. You started off. 2 pandemic heroes. Guys that we've, enjoyed, followed, bet on for the entirety of this podcast.
Yeah. And I'm going to go Fluffy Hernandez. I think that Fluffy Hernandez has no quit in him. I think that Fluffy Hernandez doesn't gas out. I think that Fluffy Hernandez can survive an early onslaught. Very competent everywhere. Great jiu-jitsu. Pretty good striking. Very good, dirty boxing, clinch work. When the fight gets grimy, Anthony Hernandez is the guy you want. Anthony Hernandez is going to win this fight. Roman Dolidze tends to gas a little bit. This is a 5-round affair. Anthony Hernandez is a tough son of a gun. I don't see Roman Dolidze putting Anthony Hernandez away. I think that Anthony Hernandez might even have better striking than Roman Dolidze as well. I think that Roman's path to victory is probably through grappling, and he is not the better grappler in this matchup. So I'm going to go with Anthony Hernandez.
I disagree. I'm going with Roman Dolidze. I think he's got good takedown defense. He'll keep the fight on the feet. Hits harder. Brick chin. This is where Anthony Hernandez's Cinderella story ends.
Okay, fair enough.
What else can I say? I think that it's going to be a great fight, a close fight. Goes to decision, or something just tells me it's just not going to be Anthony Hernandez's night. And honestly, I thought he was going to dominate Brendan Allen more. Seeing what he did to Michelle Pereira made me think he would run through Brendan Allen, but I was a little bit underwhelmed, I'll be honest. And Dolidze competes to the level of his competition. He kind of plays with his food a little bit. So I think that when Fluffy Fluffy can win by sandbagging and not go like. Remember the Pereira fight? Pereira almost knocked him out in the first round. Like he was all over him. So if he sandbags like that, he could maybe win rounds 3, 4, and 5. But I think Dolidze is the type of guy who will win round 5 and not get finished, or win round 4. You know what I mean? And win rounds 1 and 2.
No.
So I'm going to take Dolidze. I think he's my third dog.
All right, fair enough.
Let's run through them all, top to bottom, and we'll call it for the evening, boys. Big episode next week. Make sure you guys are all here for it. We'll be here Monday. No, well,
Dolidze cannot go 5 with Fluffy, but Luke says he can win round 4. I don't know. I don't know what this guy's on about.
He went 5 with Vettori.
Vettori is not Anthony Fluffy Hernandez.
That's true, but he's got good cardio, good striking, is dangerous for all 5, and
I wouldn't say Vettori is dangerous for any of the 5. When's the last time the guy's ever gotten a finish?
A lot of disagreement this week. Some agreement, but a lot of disagreement.
Okay. Well, that's what happens when we both have a bad week. We got to burn the boats. We gotta realign. We gotta find a new way off of this island.
Actually, we do have a pretty good amount of agreement this week. I don't know what I was saying. I kind of felt like we were disagreeing a lot, but I'm looking at it now, and we have a lot of agreement, I think. So.
All right. Well, I'll run through my picks if you're prepared.
Yeah, give me 1 second. So, where are you going to be watching the fights this weekend?
Whom?
Okay.
Why?
Just wondering. Okay, I'm ready.
What are you putting a hit out on me or something? Stop being so vague and mysterious.
No.
Okay. If you're rolling with
we
me,
actually agree on every fight except 2. I don't know what the fuck I was saying. I'm pretty sure unless something differs. But go ahead, read them off and I'll verify.
Anthony Hernandez, Steve Urseg, Angela Hill, C-Rod, Miles Johns, Christian Leroy Duncan, Julius Walker, Elijah Smith, Jocelyn Edwards, Uris Medic, Gabby Fernandez, Cody Brundage.
Yeah. So for me, it's Cody Brundage, Gabby Fernandez, Gilbert Urbina, Jocelyn Edwards, Elijah Smith, Julius Walker, Christian Leroy Duncan, Miles Johns, Christian Rodriguez, Angela Hill, Ode Osborne, and Roman Dolidze. The one I'm least confident in is Ode. Ode and Hill, I'll say, because I'm not sure they're even 2 different people. I think that. No, I'm kidding. It's Neil Magny that is the doppelganger when they weigh in.
Neil Magny, but the fastest UFC turnaround 7 days.
I mean, Hill's fighting at 135. Ode's fighting at 125. There's no reason why he can't slot in. Or she can't slot in against Urseg. I mean, I kind of like her shots against Urseg, to be honest with you. Like, on the ground, Hill, she's really improved in her jiu-jitsu. But anyway, so those are my picks. The double P certified picks are going to be Angela Hill, Christian Rodriguez, Miles Johns, CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan, Julius Walker, Elijah Smith, Jocelyn Edwards, Gabby Fernandez, and Cody Brundage. So it's easier to just tell you that, Alex picked Medique, whereas I picked Urbina. He picked Urseg, whereas I picked Ode. And he picked Hernandez, where I picked Dolidze. So if you're asking me, I would go with Alex's picks. All of them. And then I would.
Why didn't you pick them?
Well, I just mean that I agree with all of our Triple P certified picks, obviously, but then the ones that were not Triple P certified, I'm not that confident in Gilbert Urbina. I'm not that confident in Angela Hill. Well, she's Triple P certified, but I'm not super confident in Hill. I'm not super confident in Ode. And then the main event is the main event. I'd rather have the favorite than the dog and be able to hedge out if I got a perfect parlay intact. So, and especially in a close fight. And obviously, we have nothing but respect for Anthony Hernandez. So, bit of a risk taking Dolidze there, but I wouldn't want to leave it all up to Dolidze. I could easily see myself losing a perfect parlay on Ode and then being like, fuck, I got to rebuild and do everything on Dolidze and then just ruining everything. But I'll try not to do that. In the meantime, the double B certified picks will be what I'll be betting. and leaving Hill off of it. So the other and probably Edwards too.
All right.
All right, guys. If you want to get those all listed out, they'll be in the Patreon, and I'll put my open bet sheet in the Patreon as well. Excuse me. Big week next week, guys. Get in here next week. Thanks for joining us today, and have a good week with your family. I'm going to the beach with mine. Summer's coming to an end. Let's get out there. Let's get tan. Let's gym tan laundry and rage at the Jersey Shore. Thank you, Sweet Pea Grable. I appreciate you. Thank you, Home Wreck and Knee Knocker. Thanks, Justin Villegas. Thank you, everybody, for joining the show. We'll see you guys in the Discord. We'll see you guys next Monday. Very special episode. You're going to want to be here. And let us know in the comments what you think or how you did last weekend, what you're thinking this weekend. All right. Alex, good to see you. Catch you later.